Lewis joining us from the ATL.
Skin is on fleek.
I mean, you just look great, Lou. What's going on?
I don't feel great. I got a little allergies, but I showed up.
Me too.
I
By the
showed
way,
up.
I
they've
had
been
a
bad.
sneeze attack in the car on the way here. Like
Oh,
eight.
let's do an hour on allergies.
Like 8 in a row.
Okay. I love sneezing, for the record.
I'm dealing, but I'm here.
Okay, well, you're here. Chandler's here. I'm here. We got a lot of basketball. Eric Collins, Hornets announcer, who goes nuts.
I just can't wait to talk to him.
I know. He'll be on in a little while, but we start with some hoops from OKC. All right, Thunder, settle down. I know, 116-103 win for OKC. Chet with 21 and 9. SGA 20. Ooh, barely made it. 20, 7 to 22 from the field, 10 assists. Julius Randle had 32. Ant had 19. 25 turnovers for Minnesota, 7 for OKC. That ain't it. 6 of those by Anthony Edwards himself. So 8 of 9 games. We start with the positive. That's what they've won. They are now, Minnesota, third in the West, and they've lost 4 of their last 5. The only win they had was against a Warriors team that we know is very depleted. I don't understand. They had a bad showing out here in Los Angeles. They got this loss now. What's the problem here?
They've just been very, very inconsistent. They remind me of the Knicks, where sometimes I watch this team and they look fantastic and they look like they're kind of in my sleeper pick of the West. And then sometimes I look at them, they're just a completely different team. They look like they force on the offensive end. When you see Anthony Edwards give 6 turnovers, it's almost like he tries to do too much. And sometimes he picks his spots. You can tell early and often what he's going to be that night. And sometimes it just looks forced. It looks like the paint is clogged. Julius Randle, it's the same thing. He's kind of been up and down. He had a great game last night, but then he's also struggled, throughout the season. So this team's interesting. I still like them. And listen, they still went on a hot streak right there, and they've obviously smoked 4 or 5 here. But this is still a very dangerous team because they defend really well. They're versatile, and they do have a lot of things that can present a bunch of challenges to other teams. But they got to find a way to be somewhat more consistent. And I know Anthony Edwards, he's hurt, and you can tell just by watching. He's not moving how he used to move. He's not moving as fluid and as athletic and as bouncy as he was in the beginning of the season. He's been having that foot issue. Then he was out with like a knee. He's kind of definitely banged up, but this team just has to find a rhythm here going into the postseason because they are still very, very good.
It's interesting, Lou. Here's the thing, because he mentioned the injury, right? Like, he's been dealing with the foot thing. He did pop up on the injury report with a knee situation. That was on Friday. But if you look at the Western Conference standings, it's so jumbled in there that they really can't afford to drop any lower. So if you are them, I know you want to rest him, but what do you do?
No, you can't afford to rest him. And if you know Anthony Edwards, he's not even going to sit out if you try to make him sit out with the way that this season is going. They know what's at stake. They know what's on the table for them. He can't afford to go sit out any of these games. They need him on the floor for them to stay in position. They're on the brink of being a top 3 seed and also on the brink of being a play-in team. And when you're at that point of the season, you can't have your best player sitting out, especially with the pedigree and the personality that he has. He wants to be out there with his guys. So foot injury or not, knee injury or not, if I'm capable, if I'm healthy enough to get on the floor, Anthony Edwards is the type of guy that's gonna play, and with this team and with the 25 turnovers, we've been talking about it all this season. They need a primary ball handler. They need somebody to kind of set the table for some of these guys because you got DiVincenzo playing out of position. You kind of got Ant playing out of position by bringing the ball up, initiating offense, and trying to create offense for others. That's not what their natural jobs are. That's not what their natural positions are. These are guys that play on the wing, and so. When you don't have a point guard on the floor, it kind of puts everybody out of position and in positions for them to play out of body a little bit. And they've had some success in doing it and winning 8 out of 9. But then when you run into teams that kind of force you to play a traditional style of basketball, that's where you see some of the problems that come in for Minnesota as well. But like you said, Beetle, this is not the time for Edwards to rest or any of those things. He has to be on the floor. He has to be available. And also, us on the outside looking in, we can't have it both ways, right? We criticize guys for load management. We criticize them for sitting out. And we also can't get on a guy for wanting to play through his injuries and be tough enough to do that and try to lead his team to wins in a playoff berth. So, all of these things are working against Minnesota. It's been a roller coaster for them as well as a couple of other teams, but that's how the Western Conference is built this year.
And Anthony Edwards, I feel like he always responds with a big game after a bad game too. So he took accountability after the game. He said too many turnovers, too many missed shots. So he knows. And if you look at the history of the last 9 games, He had 21, then he had 41. He had 22, then he had 34. He had 14, then he had 36. Well, now he just had 19, so be prepared for
it's gonna be a
big
so
one
we're
coming
looking
up.
at Bam Adebayo's record tonight.
I know, you got tomorrow's Suns at home.
Good luck, Phoenix.
It's just tough because the load management, when it's blatant, it's one thing. But in this case, man, I bet they wish they could just pause time for a second because he's just going to have to push it, and then the playoffs are going to be rough.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy, too, in the Western Conference, like Lou just said, like, they have no time to, relax. They cannot take their foot off the gas. Because this team can go from the 3 seed and be real confident and look good, or they could fall all the way to the 7th seed, have to earn their way into just the playoff position to then face San Antonio or Oklahoma City. So there is no time for rest of any of those teams in that 3 to 7 range.
Just hopefully it's not that painful.
Tough.
No, it's not going to be an easy stretch here. Was not also easy for SGA last night. You're looking at the streak continues. He only had 4 points in the first half, but he did manage to finish with the 20 needed for his 128th consecutive game with 20 or more points. Consistency-wise, is he top dog?
I mean, yeah. So you look at every time he plays, he's producing, and those numbers right there, 128 straight games. He's not had one just stinker, one bad game, and by the way, again, we know how often they blow teams out, and he's not even playing high minutes or he's playing fourth quarter. So this is a guy that he has seen every single possible coverage. He has seen double teams. He has seen triple teams. You heard it straight from his mouth. He has all the answers. He just has to wait to see the question, which still was one of the coldest quotes I've ever heard in my life. And I believe it. And he's got a way of that not being even arrogant or cocky. It's the truth, and it's how he prepares each game, and it's how he presents this maturity level that he has, where he's just cool and calm and collected, no matter if it's the first play of the game or the ball's in his hands, for a possible game-winning situation. So, yeah. I mean, there's great players across the league, guys like Jokic, guys like Luka right now, who's on an absolute heater. But SGA, you can't speed him up, you can't slow him down. There's nothing you can do to defend this guy. And their team is so good and deep that you can't really take the ball out of his hands because he has so many backup enforcements too. So, yeah, I would say he's a top 1, 2, or 3 consistent player in the NBA.
Lou, do you think he's aware, by the way, of this? Like last night?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
1,000%. You know why I know he's aware? Because last night I was running around. I was in the gym with the kids or whatnot. I looked up. He had 10 points. It was about 4 minutes to go in this game. I said, history has a funny way of humbling you. He's probably he's broken the record, but now it's probably gonna end here. And I look up and he had 20 points to this game. So believe me, he's very much aware of this record, what's at stake. And as far as him being consistent, he has to be one of the most consistent players. Now, you can make a case that some of these aren't as efficient, but who is efficient every single night in the NBA, including last night's performance? But he's hyper aware of where he is in the history books and trying to keep that going and continue it on for sure.
It's just an awesome streak. I want to know where does it end?
Well, yeah, and who's second? Like, at least can we get that one? Who is this?
Oh, you mean currently active?
Currently, who is there? Anyone close to 128 or not even close?
Well, you have to make a case for. Well, I don't know as far as the 20-point games, but if we just talking consistency, we got to get that to the Joker. We got to get that to Nikola.
Oh, we'll get you him.
We'll get answers
here in a second. You mentioned how many dudes can come off the bench in OKC. One of them is Jared McCain. Yay!
What a pickup.
10th time that he scored in double figures for the Thunder since he got there. It's 5 weeks after the deadline. I still feel like that trade maybe didn't get as much love as it should have, Lou, but here we are. Is he going to be the biggest steal in the 26 trade deadline situation?
Man, he looks amazing playing with this team, right? He looks at home. He looks comfortable. It looked like he's buying into the culture that they've created. Like he's flying off of those screens. He's a corner shooter. He's a threat. Him and Hardenstein, they've created this 1-2 punch with these screen and rolls that you can see here. Like, that's just good basketball. So for them to add another weapon in a team full of guys that we already felt like were capable of getting them back to the championship and having a chance to compete for a back-to-back title, and then you go out and get a guy like Jared McCain that we felt like in Philadelphia was going to be, one of the guys that was going to be a difference maker for Philly. So once you get him over here, he's doing the same thing in OKC in an even better situation than he was in once before that in Philadelphia. But he's been a seamless fit. The first couple of games it was also a little rocky start, him trying to figure his way out and what his role was. Now that he knows it and now that he's bought in, he's absolutely rolling for this team. You got to give a lot of credit for Jared McCain. And give a lot of credit for OKC putting him in a position to be successful and to be comfortable and to be able to blend in with the rest of the guys coming off the bench that's giving them very valuable minutes as well.
Yeah, it's just another weapon, like you said. Like this team can afford to sit and rest these other players because they have 9, 10, 11th guy on their team can just they'd start on other teams. There's probably 4 or 5 guys on this bench that would start on the Detroit Pistons, who are number 1 in the Eastern Conference. Like, they are that good. They are that loaded. Guys like Wiggins, guys like Joe, guys like Cason Wallace, Jared McCain. He was the best, most consistent player on Philly his rookie year. He was a runaway rookie of the year, and through injury and them drafting VJ and Tyrese Maxey still being a stud, he just kind of got lost in the shuffle. And I know Daryl Morey, he's a smart, really brilliant guy. He's sold high here. I completely disagree. I think the player he is, the potential he even has to become even more of a star player, and then the way he can shoot the basketball, I thought this was a very short-sighted trade by Philly, and I think it's an absolute steal and probably one of the biggest of the deadline for OKC.
It really is.
If Sam Presti wants to do it, that means it's a good move. That's
the other thing.
I'm certain of that.
That's a great point. Even if you didn't think about this trade, you got to tell
Like,
yourself.
if I'm Philly and I was Sam Presti, like, yeah, all right, I'll do it, I'm like, nah, I'm out. Like, just,
Yeah, if you're the other team and Sam Presti calls, aren't you kind of like, wait a minute?
yeah, I'm
wait
like, no
a
thanks.
minute.
I know you know what you're doing.
I know what you're up to.
But you know what? He has assets to make your team look good as well.
All
So
of
you
them.
got to at least take the call.
Yeah, I think it was like 1 first round, 2 second round for Jared McCain or something.
Yeah, that's
I would do that every day.
nothing. It's nothing to them.
Those picks aren't guaranteed to become Jared McCain.
That's why I don't like trading for picks. I'm like, why? You don't even. It's like door number 1 or what you already have. I don't want to take that risk every time, but sometimes I do. Celtics did lose to OKC on Thursday, and I'm bringing that up because Jaylen Brown condemned foul baiting, called it a manipulation of the game, and that it's not basketball, Chandler. Look, SGA gets a lot of criticism, whether it's valid or overblown. I leave that up to you. What do you think?
The problem with this is it is such a part of the game now. And Jaylen Brown, there's going to be games and times and moments within the season and then playoffs that he is going to be a victim of this too. He is going to try and create